Hi, everyone. Welcome to the YAM podcast. My name is Afagh Haghbin, and welcome to season 2, guys. Woo! We are starting season 2. Stop it. Yes, and we are starting with video, so you can come watch us on YouTube as well. We are also, of course, on Apple iTunes, Spotify, and WeChat blog. We have a blog, and we have all of our podcasts in that blog. So welcome back to season 2. We're going to keep the number of the episodes moving forward from here onwards, even though we're mentioning season 2, because it's very distinct from season 1 in that season 2 has video and season 1 does not. That's how it's going to be different. There's not going to be a distinct number difference with the episodes. Just wanted to let you guys know about that. For the first episode of season 2, I brought on my mama to come and share what she learned in season 1. So it's almost like a review. Even if you missed season 1, you didn't hear it, but you're wanting to catch up on it, this is almost like a little highlight of the amazingness from season 1. We really hope you enjoy it. It was definitely the highlight stories that I remember. Let's just get right into it. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the YAM podcast. My name is Afagh Haghbin, and we are starting season 2, baby. We are starting season 2, and it is super exciting. And we are starting with, obviously, the OG of the town of the YAM podcast, which is my mother, my mucha, my mama. Welcome, Mama, to the YAM podcast.
Thank you for your inviting me.
Are you excited for season 2?
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
We wanted to use you on our show so that we get a little bit of a review of season 1 of what it was. One of the last things that you shared on the first podcast on episode 1 of season 1 was that you were really excited to learn about what we're going to talk about on the YAM podcast. And I wonder, after 15 episodes, what did you think? What did you learn? Which episodes come to mind for you? What were some things that like really shine?
Actually, I have to tell you, from each of them, I learned something. Some of them, maybe it was late for me because I had already my 3 kids. Each of them, I could share with other people what the other people they went through and listen to the broadcast. I look at forward. A few times I listen all of them, and each of them teach me something. And it was amazing, from the motherhood, from work, from the experience. It was very helpful, very good.
Share some examples of what were some of the things that were really impactful for you.
One of the things, for example, when the lady was talking about when you have a cesarean, you cannot have a natural delivery. That was very exciting for me to listen to see what is going to happen in the end. And rely upon God and trust was very important for me. She was really put her hand, whatever God is willing to do that. And everything went very perfect. Everything went very right. And another one was...
So wait, just 1 second. So 1 second. So the episode that you're referring to is, I think, episode 11 and 12 of Mona Greenspoon, where she was talking about doing a VBAC delivery in Thailand. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay, so what was the other one? What was the one that you were going to just share now?
The other one was Zareen, when was talking about the experience after the delivery. Because I was thinking maybe I had also something like that, but I didn't know. Nobody noticed, or I didn't notice there is something is happening after your delivery. And it's very important emotionally around you, support you. That helped you a lot. And of course, that time the mother is thinking, I know the best. I know what is good for my child. I know what is good for myself. But sometimes because of the hormone, we are not in the right position to make a decision. And we have to trust around us, our family, our sister, our mother, those people. We have to trust them. That is very important.
Wow. Yeah, I think I got a lot of comments about Zareen's podcast, which was episode 3. It was about having post-depression or postpartum mood disorder, I think it was called. That was definitely an episode that I received several comments about, even from men that were saying that, oh my gosh, I can't believe women go through all this stuff. And they felt that it was very enlightening for them to hear about like the details of women's stories, so that in the future, if they were to have a child, they would know how to support like their woman. So yeah, that was a popular episode. I got a lot of comments about that one. Yeah, that was a good one. What else?
And also from the ASIA also, I learned sometimes you think you have the ownership of the kids. Sometimes it doesn't work. It doesn't work. They also have, even from the birth, they have something also to tell you. I know what is good for me. I know what I'm supposed to do. Don't force me. Don't push me. Because I was present in that moment, that time, when the child was screaming, leave me alone, give me a bottle. You know, I don't want to work hard. That was also very interesting for me because I was in that process.
And Asia, just to note for the audience, like Asia was your daughter-in-law. So you were very present there. You were there for the birth of your first grandson. Definitely you were there for that.
And for Elika also, when you trust God, even your child is have a fever and you didn't sleep well, and God is with you. He's going to help you how to pass that process, because motherhood is not an easy job. It's not really easy job. It's a 24-hour job, and non-stop the mother has to think, okay, what else?
Yeah, that was episode 6. Elika Mani was sharing how she stayed up all night with her child after having a fever, and then her needing to record an album for the rest of the day, and then for 8 hours singing. But then because of that time, God like seemed to assist her to sing an octave higher, or notes that she had never been able to sing before. That was definitely really fascinating as well.
And the other one, because I am now for a long time is a teacher, and we have an experience, we have autism in our class. I remember I feel very sad after when I heard Linda, it was
Linda's episode. Yeah, you said you cried several times after that one. That was like the first episode that you actively commented to me on, and you were like, oh my God, I cried 3 times for that.
And especially to myself, because I didn't know that also. I know there is something wrong with the kids, but I didn't know how to handle them. And in the beginning, I was rough with them because I thought maybe they are the only child, they are spoiled, so many other things. But later on, I went and a little bit find out what is wrong with this one and went to the internet. But I find she really handled the autism very good. I learned a lot. Now it's big help for me to in our kindergarten. At least each class I have one. Some of them is very quiet. Some of them is disaster. But after when they have your trust, no matter what, they listen to you. They listen to you.
Yeah, that was definitely, we've had Linda actually not only on the podcast, but we've had her several times come in the membership portal, and she's been super helpful. She's an early childhood educator, and she's literally been a lot of the moms in the membership portals like safe haven. She's so generous with her knowledge and sharing, and every time it's like I'm supposed to be there in the membership portal like answering your questions, but a lot of times Linda will come in and actually answer the questions for me, and it's so amazing to have her support and love for the mothers in the membership portal. Is really amazing to have her there. Yeah.
And I don't know if you mix up your job with the service also, that was very interesting for me to start. It was, I don't know, it was in our workcast or another workcast. The gentleman in
okay, Farid Bidarel's one about Germany, the Ukrainian mothers mixing service and work.
Yes, because you start to serve the people, and it's become like your job. And because you're serving people, of course, the bounty is there, no matter what, become your, and not only that one, even for example, as a teacher, when you are wholeheartedly, you are working toward to educate the kids, this give you a bounty, and the kids, they love you. And usually we shouldn't go, okay, this is my work, this is my job, I have to go 8 hours or 4 hours then and come home. But if we think about it, this is a service we are doing to the people, either to children, either the adult, and that view is changed.
It's funny that you say this because Barry didn't actually mention children in the episode, but he does actually now work with like youth. We might need to actually ask him to come back on at some point and to share about that. But he didn't talk about
Also because
children in the
because
podcast.
yes, no, because he's working with them. Mother
Yeah.
is connected to the kids. If the
Got
mother
it.
is comfortable, if the mother has a job, if the mother happy,
Yes.
is effect to the how to deal with your kids.
Yes. Yes. I had the honor of actually meeting that very mother that we were talking about. It was like an accident. I was asking Fari to introduce me to someone who I can see if I can help with anything, and he put me in touch with her, and I was like, oh my god, we talked about you on the podcast about the motherhood thing. She was really interesting. She actually told me, she's Nahal, I was so scared to take the job. Like it would never in a million years did I think that I would be able to, I would never apply to a job like that. But I was like, what I said in the podcast to Farid was that it is so amazing that you accepted it once he offered, because that in itself really demonstrated you and your potential. And I was like telling her, I'm like, I've interviewed like 30 women. So like, I know the mentality and the fear, the guilt, the anxiety that is around all that. And I told her that like, I respect you so much for taking the job, because one is that someone offered, but something that I'm personally very surprised with is that she accepted the job. She accepted the job that was the opportunity that was given to her. And I think this is why two people make something happen. You can offer something, but then you need the other person to also jive with you too. I got a little bit of insider info or this connection from that episode too.
And also the mother was doing yoga and had a baby, and how to manage this one. Everybody thought, okay, now you are a mother, you cannot do that anymore, yoga. Motherhood shouldn't stop you from anything, but you can do it together with your baby. Spend time with your baby, and at the same time, you can do lots of things. Nothing can stop you from to have a child. Some parents, they said, oh, I am like a prison at home, and as far as my baby arrived, I cannot do this one, that one. But for my case, I had 3 very little ones. I could do anything I want with my kids together.
You know? Yeah, but that was a very active decision that you made to do that. That was something you and Bajun, like you guys made a decision to not let children affect your daily life. That was like a conscious choice. I would not say that's a very conscious choice that people usually make when they have children. They see it as a barrier, or they make an excuse about it. They say that, oh, because I have a child, I can't do this. Or because I have a child, I can't do this. It's really, there was this parenting woman that I was listening to. I forget her name. If I remember, I'll put it in the description of this podcast. And she was saying that when this thought comes up that I can't do something because of my child, you need to rephrase it as I must do this because of my child. Like I must go work out because of my child, or I must eat healthy because of my child, or I must find joyful work because of my child, so that they have a happy and joyful parent to come home to. And it's more like, instead of making children as an excuse, you make it like a must. So you reframe it as something that you must do in order to parent to your fullest potential.
I remember sometimes I have to take, there was no any other choice. My husband was working and we need something to buy for home. I have to take 3 of them. I don't think so anybody goes shopping with 3 kids. From the beginning, I put in my mind, don't be in rush. Just the fun, half a day even, and go. And when we were going to shopping, it was like some fun for us. And also the same times to teach them how to shop. For example, the boys, usually they were walking and Nahal was sitting in the, what they call?
The stroller?
Sitting in the, yes, the stroller. I tell them, okay, you have to go look for the tag. This is yellow. And They are asking, mommy, what is does it mean? Yellow means the price is lower.
Oh,
That's why we were teaching to them also how to shop, how to manage. If they choose something, and I said, go beside that, see which one is cheaper and the price is better, you choose that one. And it was fun for them. Every time they were coming shopping for me, with me, it was fun for them. And also include them to bring it out, put it in the fridge and everything. That's why it has to be part of your life.
I don't think I've ever heard you talk about that before. I didn't know we did that at all. I didn't know that we were ever helpful in the grocery store for you like that. Oh, interesting. See, this is why we need to have these kind of podcast conversations, because you learn new things about your childhood that you've never known before. I love it. What are some other thoughts that you have? Any other podcasts that come to mind?
Also, I was thinking about Nahid Eshraqi, which was talking about how difficult time she heard the news of her parents and everything, and was having a baby and handling the kids. That was also another thing.
That was also your sister-in-law, but you also knew the Eshraqi family. So you knew her parents, you knew her sister.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that was like a very close connection with you too.
When it was happened, I was not even married.
Yeah. But you remember also the moment that you heard the news, right?
Sure. Now I want to say how is affect to maybe affect to me and my life, but didn't affect to as a mother because I didn't have any kids with me. But that time Nahid had the kids.
Yeah. I think the whole aspect of her mentioning breastfeeding and how she thought she was giving her children poison from all the grief or hatred that she was feeling inside her anger. How about Josh's podcast? Josh's podcast was about microgreens. Did you learn anything
Actually,
from that?
That was also of course, that was my favorite. And I have it also lots of things now in my home.
Yeah,
I have
microgreens.
lots of kind of herb.
What do you grow?
Often I have a mint, I have dale, I have dill. Yes, I have few things I grow.
Those are not microgreens. Those are like herbs. But yeah, I thought that was like definitely a podcast where I felt really close to the idea of microgreens because of your planting. Because of you planting like herbs and like mint, and always like whenever we would eat food, you would just pick something off of little plants there. And I even attempted a couple times in this house to grow some mint and herbs. I killed them during the winter times, but I'm looking forward to starting it back again. Melissa's one with herbal medicine.
My favorite, because I really like a natural way.
Natural medicine.
Cure ourselves.
That was huge for me. To a lot of the episodes of like where Melissa talked about like healing animals and like children, that they're able to heal faster because they don't have the mental block. That was really interesting for me. What about my teacher, Sunita Ji, where she was talking about yoga and the Bhagavad Gita? Did you understand that one?
Yes.
That was a lot of yogic terms.
Yes, I tried to understand, but that was good. Each of them, they teach you, because everybody interest is different. Maybe something attract me, something didn't attract other people.
There were a couple things that I did want to talk to you about in addition to that. I want to say it's dreams. Dreams, I really wanted to talk to you about, because you have some powerful dreams before. I don't think we talked about this one on the podcast, the first podcast, but I wanted to, in particular, you share the dream that you had about my brother when he got sick, and also the time where your great grandmother came to you and gave you a little bit of a
my face.
Yeah, I was trying to not give it away. Just the connection about the dream world, I think, is very interesting with mothers. I feel that, at least in the past, before I felt like I was connected to my intuition, we would call you like a wizard, because you would always dream of things and then you would tell us, and then we would just be in resolve and be like, all right, just tell me my fate. Just tell me like what's going to happen to me. Right? So the time that I think what I wanted to share with the story, why I wanted you to share the story with my brother getting sick, is really to demonstrate the connection that a mother has to her child is like very deep. And that connection will go into the dream world to forewarn you of matters that are close to you and that you need to be like aware of. Please do share.
You mentioned the connection you have it to your child. Actually, the same things is happened to me because my father came to my dream, which is connected to me, to the child. I am the child of my father now.
Yes.
I remember clearly for a whole maybe 10 days, Nima was here and said, oh, I sleep without shirt beside the air condition. That's why my back is hurting. And we thought, okay, bring some Chinese people to give some massage or some Chinese medicine. Anyway, I took him to one of the Chinese medicine. In the person put his hand on the pulse of my son, Nima, but this person become red and couldn't say anything. Just look at me and give me some medicine. But I find in my heart, I find he really disturbed from put the hand in the pulse of my son.
This is before he was officially diagnosed? Oh, I didn't know this part.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know
Yes.
his pulse was touched before he was diagnosed properly. Okay, cool.
Yes, because for 10 days he was with me and he was complaining the pain.
Yeah.
It was, for a while, I said, okay, let's go to the Chinese doctor. When the doctor put the hand in the pulse of him, he was really disturbed. I had, in that moment, I had a feeling is not something small, because the doctor didn't say anything to me. Just said, I am going to give you medicine, but his face really changed, and his face was totally, I cannot say sad, or it was disturbed face. We took that medicine, and after that, Nima went to Vancouver. And in that time when he went to Vancouver, all the cousins, they were around. All my brothers, they were there. And Nima, I said, when you go to the doctor, you go to Vancouver, right away you go to the doctor. And he didn't went because the cousin was around and everybody was teasing. And all the picture we have, Nima holding his stomach because the liver was getting bigger and bigger. Anyway, I think after 2-3 days when he passed, I had a dream. Hospital is the bed and is covered. Somebody is sleeping there and is covered. And I knew it is my father. But my father is passed away. And just I was walking and I find it, Nima sit down in the corner of the bed. And I look at him. I said, this was my father. Ooh, how come Nima become like that? And I wake up. When I wake up, I right away call him. He didn't answer me. I call another cousin. I said, tell to Nima right away, just today, go to the hospital, go and check as soon as possible. And he went there, and I don't know, the day after that, I think my son, the second son, called me, and I said he has a, what they call it?
Acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
Yeah. And I didn't know even what does it mean.
It was a new word for all of us.
Leukemia, yes. Yeah. And I asked him, what does it mean? And he told me it's a cancer. I said, okay, I'm going to buy a ticket and right away come to Vancouver.
It's so funny because me and Niaz, we did rock, paper, scissors to see who needs to tell who. Like if I am supposed to tell you or you tell, so I called my dad and Niaz was responsible for calling you. So we were both afterwards like sharing your reactions with Nima later with the cousins as well. And it was a good time. Harsh as well at the same time, but it was interesting how both of you responded to that. But just for the audience to know, my brother is healthy and well and thriving. And despite chemo, he had 2 miracle babies. It's a good story for our family, for sure. We were heavily blessed with lots of positive ideas and positive thinking during that time. Actually, my dad got really into The Secret. We actually didn't even call it cancer anymore. We like used a secret code word like CC or
We
lucky.
call it love.
Lucky. It was lucky. We called it CC or lucky because it was like L for like leukemia. But yeah, I
We
think
didn't want to give a power to the actual disease. We don't want to mention it.
Yeah. But I was like thinking like that was definitely like the major beginning of at least I wanted to be a physician during that time. And so I was really interested actually in looking up the disease and all these things. But I think throughout that whole experience, that was a huge factor of our family growing in such a way where we began to explore other modes of thinking or modalities and things like that. Yeah. I didn't really have the thought that I was going to ask you to share the story. I was mostly thinking about dreams, but I didn't even think about this particular dream, but it's interesting that it came out in this way. But yeah, okay. Share now the one with great grandmother. My great grandmother, your grandmother.
But yes, my grandmother. Among all four grandparents, the only one we are very close, the only one I remember, and we were older enough to know, is my mother's mother, grandmother.
And what was her name?
Sultan.
Which means?
Sultan means king.
King. That's a pretty gangster name right there. I think we talked about this in the first episode, actually. I think we talked about how you messed my name up by giving me a little pansy name of like little sapling, while you guys all had the king, Iran, the country, or like this morning sunlight. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, my great grandmother's name was King. Okay, go ahead.
The translation. Sultan in the old time, in the old age, we were not calling king Sultan. This is the sultan of this country. This is the sultan of district, and he's very powerful. And he,
do you actually know why? Do you know why she was named that?
No idea.
No idea.
No idea. But she was really powerful. She had her own set of mind, and she was very powerful, and she was very happy person. Very happy. And she never wear brown color or gray color. Never.
Black?
I remember didn't like it because he said, this is not a happy color. Always purple, yellow, red, all very, they call it a spring color, very happy color. I remember my mother knew it how to make it knitting. My grandmother had a suit, black suit, and my mother chose, I think it was brown color to knit for him under the shirt. When it was wearing the suits, it's become nice. And sometimes she was living with us. Sometimes she was living with her two sons, twins. Anyway, that time she came and my mother said, okay, I make for you this one. We are going out. She didn't wear it. She didn't touch it. She said, brown, I don't like it. And my mother had lots of thread. They call it thread, lots of things. And she said, okay, choose which one you want. She went and chose the beautiful purple one. To choose the purple one. And my mother, in a matter of few days, make for her. And she said, yes, this is nice. This is good. And sometime when in the early morning, she was going out, and she used to have a very small package, like a leather. And inside was a black things to put around your eyes. When I was for the makeup. Sometimes when I look at him and in the street, I said, oh, grandma, why you didn't put your makeup in the middle of the street? Because he had a chador, the covering things in the middle,
covering her hair.
She had a pocket.
Yeah.
Yes.
The scarf, the head scarf. Yeah.
Yes, covering and take it out from his pocket and start to doing the makeup. Because she didn't like it to go out without. But sometimes she forgot. She was old. Anyway, in the Baha'i faith, we have to say a prayer for whoever passed away. I was often say a prayer for my mother, for my father, or whoever I know close. But I never thought I say a prayer for my grandparents. I remember one night, oh, I dreamed a long time ago. I don't know how many years ago passed. I dreamed about her, and I find it she slammed my face, and I look at
Your
her.
face or your head?
My face.
Oh.
Yes, I look at her, and I was questioning why you are hitting me after a long time. You came to my dream. She said, "Why did you keep me here?" And I told, what does it mean? He said, because I was not saying prayer, the soul was not progressing, you know? That's why he said, why did you keep me here? And from that time, I start to make a small list. My grandmother, grandparents, all the grandparents, uncles, mother, father. And now I am adding to my list and I say prayer for all of them because I'm afraid the other people also come and slam my face.
Yeah, but you need to also share the story of like when she immediately passed, she was coming to your dreams a lot. But then what you said.
Oh, yes. Yes, I remember when she passed away, she often comes to my dream because I was very close with her. And one day I went to my mother and I said, Mom, why grandmother is often come to my dream? Maybe she want to take me away. Oh my God, I mentioned this one and my mother explained for me a little bit. From that time, she thought because she's scaring me, she didn't come anymore. I have to say begging and saying prayer, please come to my dream.
So that's why 40 years later, she comes to your dream and says, why did you keep me here? It's like you first were afraid and then you felt the fear and then that whole situation happened.
Yes, I was just around 12 years old. Didn't know about the death and afterlife.
Yeah.
No idea. Nobody talks about that to a 12 years old child.
I really am surprised of why I like want to talk about this, but I started learning about my great grandmother from actually an experience. I went to a healing session, and the reason why I started asking my mom a lot more about my great grandmother was because of that healing session, actually. So I was at a healing session and the person was like interceding and she was like saying that there's someone who wants to talk to you. And I was like, who is it? It's like it sounds like your grandmother. And I'm like, no, that's not who my grandmother's name is and stuff like that. And somehow we ended up finding out that this was like your grandmother and that she was really concerned about me. She was really concerned about me. And I was really delving hard into these spiritual matters and things like that. And it was like frightening her. It was like frightening her for me to go deep into these esoteric places and stuff like that. And this healer was saying that you need to tell your grandmother that she needs to progress, that because she's so worried about you, she hasn't continued on her spiritual journey and moved forward. She's like, you need to release her and tell her that it's okay to go. And that she was also around during the time that Nima was sick and that she was just hovering over our family, like as if it was her nest that she was like trying to protect. And that her soul was not progressing because she was so deeply involved with the affairs of the family, and guided me to guide her to release it and to let go and for her to go into the light. And that was after that situation, I came and told you about it. And then I went and I actually told my uncle about it too. And he was like really fascinated with like, how do you even go like back that far to the generation, not even your grandmother, which you've only met once, but like your great grandmother, which you've never met before. And I was really surprised about that too.
It's not a matter of to see the people. It's a matter of the soul connected together because we are from one family. We are a human being.
Yeah.
That soul can connect together.
Yeah. I think what was really interesting to me is that I would never on my own accord even think of going that many generations back to connect with my ancestors. But one thing that is very clear with your bloodline is that they have a vested interest in keeping you safe in this world, in keeping the next generation alive. Just like your father came to forewarn you in the dream about your son, and how your grandmother came to you and also would come to me to take care of me and my spiritual journeys and things like that. I don't really know what the point of me wanting to share this story is, but I guess it's, for me, I felt very taken care of by the female line of our family. Like, I was also told by another healer to rely on your mother when I needed assistance, not on your father, because he wouldn't be able to assist me in the things that I needed. Although he did actually one time help chastise someone else, or at least give me perspective when someone had done me wrong, and really helped come to my aid. But that was for when I needed protection. But the grandmother or the female lines of the family, I feel this is a podcast about motherhood, right? But I also just wanted to share that with lines of mothers, like I was in my mother's uterus and two other souls were in that uterus before me. And my mother was in her mother's uterus, and her mother was in my great grandmother's uterus. There's a connection. There's a type of connection with that. Just uteruses, uteri. I don't know what the plural of uteruses are. That this connection with just the next generation is something that we need to rely on and call upon more often in our daily dealings, because they really care for our prosperity and our survival and our perpetuation. They really do care about that. And I think, yeah, just thinking about them. I don't know why I really wanted to talk about Sultan today. And there was no other reason that came up recently in this topic, but it was just like, I knew somehow she needed to be the main focus. And maybe she'll come to my dream today. Who knows? Or your dream tomorrow. But yeah, I think just that connection with the previous generation is so important for us to like just remember that there are those who are of the female generation and who can take care of us maybe in ways we've never thought about or we never even thought of relying on. And I just wanted to just share with the audience that this may be something new that you can see to rely on in your own family line, in your own female bloodline, is to call upon, ask about, inquire about, just like right now, this interview with my mom, like there's 3 or 4 stories I've never heard before. Like I've never heard the story of you saying the one about Sultan knitting the clothes, like a bright shirt. Like I've never heard you share that one. Yeah. And just having conversations with your female ancestors, I think, are so important because you learn things and you're connected with things. And even though maybe you think of a story like that doesn't really like matter, how does the fact that your great grandmother loved like certain colors, like how does that affect you? But I think what it does is that it connects you to a greater realm, or that we're all connected and that we've all been there at some point in time. Yeah. Was there anything you wanted to share?
When I share some, I think the last things I want to share also, I had a dream about my mother. When we came to China, it was very difficult. Language, environment, food, adjusting, everything was very difficult. I remember I had a dream. I was in some kind of hole.
In a ditch?
I was trying to come. Yes, I was trying to come up very hard. There was just bare land. There was no any branches or any tree to anything to take it. And I was trying, and I look at it in the front of me, a little bit farther. My mother is sitting there and very happy. And I'm thinking, why you don't come and help me? She looked at me and said, you can do it yourself.
You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Walk it off. Walk it off, girl. Walk it off. Oh my gosh. I love it. I think the female line in our family has that attitude of tough it out. Yeah, I think they lived in a time that was like very different. I find our female line like very interesting in that they had a lot more masculine energy than they did feminine qualities. Although they were like female and they were gentle, they were nurturing and things like that. But they had a powerful sense of masculine energy dominant in their energetics. And I think one of the reasons
around that.
yeah, around them. And I think one of the reasons why I think with my spiritual growth and all these things is to actually balance it out even more with the feminine, gentle, nurturing qualities, which it probably came to my advantage to be called something much more smaller and malleable, like a little sapling, so that I could call upon those energies instead of the masculine, powerful, strong sort of forces, but that they were helpful at a certain point in time.
You were mentioning about the name, why all of us, we have a very powerful name. And my grandmother was Sultan and my mother was Iran. Iran is the new name of Persia. And my name is Afagh. Afagh means whole world. There is a two meaning. One is the sunshine in the morning. One is a whole world. If you, and your name is sapling, but sapling grow, become like a tree, become.
See, my soul doesn't even like that. It's sneezing. It's rejecting whatever you're about to say.
No, sapling one day become a tree, but you have to think
One
about
day.
that. Yes, in the old time, they have to give a mighty name to the girls because the girls was not accepted in their family, and that's why they have to give a name to show the power to them. You know?
Whoa. You just blew my mind there. That was intense. Because that makes me
in
feel
your time you didn't need it.
exactly. That kind of makes me think that I'm so privileged that I can survive on this plane with a sissy name. I can survive on this plane with a name that is more humble and gentle and malleable. Because at least this is maybe like a Confucius thinking, or like Lao Tzu said this, that anything that is old and dying is hard and brittle. It breaks easily. But anything that is young and new is tender and malleable. And yoga is all about being malleable. A sapling is malleable. A sapling is movable, is tender. It can grow. It's in that potential. So it's like forever being in that potential is actually a wonderful thing. But that perspective that you just shared, that the women in that time, they needed a name to give them that power. And then I can survive on this plane without it. That really, that just blew my mind, Mama. Did you just think of that? This podcast is bringing out some stuff in all humanity that we don't even know. I don't even know what's in us, guys. Oh my gosh, the power of the podcast. Whoa. Yes, actually, we've had in season 2, there are so many things that come out that I did not plan. I love it because the podcast is really like an opportunity for us to co-create what we want. It's co-creating based off of what you say, what I ask. Everything is just like fluid. And it's like a co-creation of something that I don't even know about. I don't even know what's going to happen, what it's going to look like, but we're just both game and we're going on the ride for this. Even with our listeners, what they tell us and what is interesting to them, like really helps shape me and what I ask and what I like bring out in other people. Like, it's really fascinating to see just how this whole thing happens. Man, this podcast is something else. It has a life of its own. It has a life of its own that I don't even know where the direction is, but we're excited about it and we're just game. We're here for it.
And we are in the good direction.
Yeah. When you're in the direction of motherhood, where was it that I heard this, that how a country is advanced is how what kind of policies or regulations they have in place for mothers. That's how you know how advanced the civilization is. And I think somebody actually was telling me that, no, your podcast is literally that. It's like the leading edge of motherhood, and you're taking us into that place, that civilization, where you're like advancing that. I'm like, I did not even think that was what we were doing, but I like the sound of that. I like the sound of that, and I'm totally game for that. If there's anything that we can do with this podcast that is contributing mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in any single way towards motherhood, or just men who are wanting to become more insightful about situations with womanhood or women or mothers and how they can support. Wow. There are ways that I didn't even think that this podcast would be helpful. So I'm so excited. Season 2 is going to be amazing. We're going to have so many amazing mothers and experts share. It's a little bit new this season. I don't know if I told you, Mama, but we're going to have one mother and one expert share, so that each time you get like a variety of the experience of the mothers, and you also get the experts sharing their thought processes. We're hopefully going to continue that, and also to let the audience know that everything is available for season 2 on video as well on YouTube. So you'll be able to see my mama and myself's interview on YouTube if you haven't already. If you're not on YouTube, get on it, subscribe to our channel, share it with your friends. This is the place to be. We're glad that we're adding in video in here, because we didn't have that for season 1. Any last words, Mama? Anything else?
No, just a few days ago, I was listening to some video, and there was a guy is sitting in the office and interviewing several people, ladies, gentlemen, old, young. And the question was that they were asking, how many hours is this job? He said 24 hours. And the person said, no, I cannot do that. Go out. And come here. And another person, he said, okay, how many hours is that? 24 hours. How much is pay? Nothing. He said, how could it be to work 24 hours and nothing, get nothing, go out? And several people, they come, and the last person was saying, he said, this is mother, no payment, no sleeping time, 24 hours. And this is, and all of them, they were crying. They never thought about that this way. Maybe I send to your WhatsApp and you listen.
Yeah, that's actually, maybe I'll leave it in the podcast so other people can listen to it too. I've never seen that. I think one thing that social media has circulated a lot is like saying that motherhood is a job that's a work hour of 98 hours or 70 hours per week or something like that. I've seen that, of like how much work time it actually is for mothers. So yeah, that's why we are dedicated to the most turbulent years, 0 to 5, when their children are 0 to 5 years of age, because we want to make sure that they sail through those most difficult times and can make it to the times of when the kids go to school for the majority of their time. That's actually something that I've noticed, that once women have their children, or the majority of their children in school, they no longer need me specifically. I am here really for the mothers who are in the trenches, who are in the deepest, darkest of hell. And I'm here to keep them afloat, thriving, happy, joyful, uplifted. And I am here for them. And mamas, if you hear me, I love you. I hope you're doing well. And this podcast is for you guys. It's really for you guys. And we recognize you here at the YAM podcast, that these 98 hours are a complete service to humanity, and we thank you for your services of raising the future generation with your loving and tender care. Merci, Mama, for raising me. Stop it.
Okay, thank you very much for having me here.
And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.